Bayern put on a masterclass, Barcelona are stopped by a Liverpool clause, Chelsea offer Atletico Kepa swap deal, a transfer roundup, and this week's great debate all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host Matt Froelich, you are the Onefootballers, and this is the Daily News. So first off, Bayern Munich put on an absolute European masterclass last night in their victory over Chelsea 3-0 in the first leg of the Champions League round of 16. It was just brilliant, and on the night, the quality of Bayern Munich was what really shone through. Special props to Serge Gnabry for another 2 goals in London after the 4 he scored against Tottenham earlier in the season. Lewandowski, who grabbed his 39th goal of the season. Alphonso Davies was unstoppable from left back, and Thiago was really just pulling the strings in midfield. It really was a night where Chelsea were humbled. Frank Lampard did admit this, that they were just beaten by a better team, and you can see why. They are really going to struggle to make it through to the quarterfinals, and it looks like Bayern Munich have a straight run to the quarters from here on out. Things got even better as well for Hansi Flick. Now, the interim manager was appointed in November and was told that he'd be staying until the end of the season. So one day after his 55th birthday, CEO Karl-Heinz Rummenigge had a little surprise for him. It was a brand new pen. He went on to say in a conference that pens are good, they're good for signing papers. This has obviously sent everyone absolutely crazy, and it pretty much means that Bayern Munich look like they're hoping Hansi Flick will be staying for the long-term future. They're very pleased with the results. The way they're playing is phenomenal, so what's not to like? They're also 1 point clear at the top of the Bundesliga as well. On top of this, a poor night for Chelsea was summed up with the red card for Marcus Alonso, and it really just was not their night. However, despite this, that was definitely the better of the 2 games last night, because my word, Napoli-Barcelona really wasn't that interesting. Antoine Griezmann cancelled out Dries Mertens' first half goal, and it means that now Barcelona head back to the Nou Camp with a very slight advantage after the 1-1 draw. Technically speaking, Barcelona can't throw a lead away if they never had it in the first place. Anyway, moving on and to a bit of transfer news that involves Barcelona and a rather odd deal that basically has really come round to shoot them in the foot. It was part of the deal which saw them sign Coutinho from Liverpool. Now, aside from the fact they paid a lot of money for Coutinho, it didn't really work and he's now on loan at Bayern. There was also a clause in this deal which said that should Barcelona within the next 3 or 4 years come back for another Liverpool player from the time they signed Coutinho, then they'd have to pay another 100 million euros on top of their market value. This means if they wanted to sign someone like Mane or Salah, there are a few links joining them with Barcelona, but it's really nothing more than just rumours at the moment. They'd have to pay 100 more million. Salah's worth 150, so it'd be 250 for the Egyptian forward. I can't see these deals happening anyway, but especially not with that absurd clause. It's well known that Barca are in the window for a striker, despite pretty much ruining Leganes by signing Martin Braithwaite outside of the transfer window. Anyway, come the summer, you can expect the Neymar transfer rumours to reappear, but the ones linking any Liverpool player to Barca will probably fade away just as quickly as they arrive. So sticking with the transfer news and actually back to the team from the first topic, Chelsea, who seem to be thinking that they can offer an outrageous swap deal to Atletico Madrid. This is in the form of Kepa plus some cash for Jan Oblak. Now, I mean, there's not even a comparison between the two. Oblak is far the better goalkeeper. Chelsea are in a race to the top 4, may not finish in the Champions League places, are definitely in a transition period, and Atletico Madrid are pretty much guaranteed to finish in the top 4 most seasons. There could be one season where they miss out, but certainly their future in the Champions League is a bit more brighter than Chelsea's is. Along with this, there's just no way that Atletico Madrid would be like, you guys want to get rid of Kepa, so we'll swap the best goalkeeper in the world for him. I just can't see it happening. I mean, Kepa's the guy who's been overtaken by 38-year-old Willy Caballero. He's not great by any stretch of the imagination. He wasn't at fault against Bayern Munich. He did make a few good saves against Lewandowski, but by no means is he a great goalkeeper at the moment. It's the fact that Chelsea think they can kind of offload someone who has the worst save percentage in the Premier League this season and get the world's best goalkeeper in return. There's no amount of money on top of that is going to make that happen. But next up, to a roundup of the rest of the day's transfer and daily news, where Ibrahim Sangare, the Toulouse midfielder, is interesting Marseille and Everton. Former Newcastle midfielder Ki Sung-young has joined Mallorca until the end of the season. Zinedine Zidane fears that Eden Hazard could miss the rest of Los Blancos campaign, and Eberechi Eze will be very difficult to hold on to. That, according to QPR sporting director Les Ferdinand. So here we are at the great debate. Of course we are, because it's a Wednesday. You know it by now. Every single week, the Onefootball newsroom pose a question for you guys. You can find out their answers in the relevant article in the Onefootball app. But for the comment section down below, we all want to know, who is the biggest transfer flop in recent history? Of course, there are so many to choose from because there's so much money thrown about for ridiculous signings. But for me, The biggest transfer flop at the time was Angel Di Maria to Manchester United. The deal that saw him go to Old Trafford was for 59.7 million, which was a record for United at the time. He came with a lot of promise from Real Madrid, but a season full of difficulties under Van Gaal, poor form and injuries meant that he was shipped out to PSG a year later. Certainly one of United's biggest flops in the last few years, and that really is saying something. I mean, no disrespect to Di Maria, because since he went to PSG, he's now brilliant and one of their most key attacking players alongside Neymar and Mbappe. But for that one season, that was a massive, massive flop. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the great debate in the comment section below and your thoughts on the rest of today's daily news. There, of course, is another massive night of Champions League action tonight as well. Whilst you're in the comment section, you can smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.